Scott.
Duane, what's going on? How we doing?
Doing all right. It is a beautiful day in Merced. How about you?
Oh man, it's gorgeous down here. My AC is working overtime already.
So my son and the people, the four people who listen to our podcast probably don't know that something you and I have in common is we both have a child with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And so today I got to enjoy the beautiful weather of Merced because I got out of my office and I drove to a local high school where they were having all of the special ed classrooms throughout the high school district. They were all playing basketball. There's kind of a special ed basketball tournament, and it was freaking awesome. The athletes themselves were just pure joy. I don't think a single kid dribbled the ball. I mean, they were just kind of, it's like sort of rugby, basketball,
football.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And the coolest part was it was at a local high school, and must have been during some sort of lunch, because just as the game was starting, a flood of typical kids came and sat in the benches in the stands and just cheered on the game, and they were having pure joy. It wasn't like they were mocking.
Yeah,
it was just a genuine, joyful day, which at this time of the school year where teachers are tired, kids are tired of being in the classroom, the teachers are tired of the kids are tired of the teachers. It's like it was a really refreshing, joyful time.
Absolutely. Yeah, my son's lucky enough to play in what they refer to as unified sports. So he plays on a team with neurotypical kids. So they have a selection. So they do it for soccer and basketball. So usually the out of sports teams will come and they'll play as practices or be coaches, mentors on the field. Like for soccer, all the neurotypical kids can't score, so all I can do is pass to the kids in the special needs class, and they have a ball, and it is one raucous event.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool. And we've got 4 or 5 high schools around here that we play against each other.
So it's like almost like a special ed league kind of.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and he's got the full letterman's jacket. He earned two or three letters. He earned basketball, soccer, and track. I know they ended track this year just because it's kind of unwieldy and long days for those kids.
Yeah.
But basketball and soccer. He's got his letterman's jacket, got the bars on it, the whole thing. And tell you what, could not see a prouder kid when he puts that jacket on. He almost got to pry it off of him. No, 5 degrees. No, the jacket today.
Wow, that is we talk about inclusion, and that's an example of maybe it's not full on inclusion, because I think real inclusion is they would, I don't know, get to sit on the bench of the varsity football games, or I don't know, whatever. But when the community does something specifically to involve and include special ed in an authentic way, not in some sort of mascot kind of way where it sort of feels dirty. But when it's genuine inclusion like that, it's just awesome.
Yeah. So my daughter's, she was always bemoaned the fact that she could walk through campus and no one would recognize her on campus of 2,700 kids.
Right.
But he can't walk through campus without kids yelling his name out and waving at him. And hey. And he's like the mayor. He's like the mayor of high school. He's just waving and having a good time. Yeah. Everyone looks out for him, which is really cool. And they know him from class. He gets to take, he's mainstreaming a bunch of classes. And he always has a partner. He always get new partners. I think it's, while I love that he gets to have that interaction, I think it's even better for the kids who not sure what to do. You kind of okay, how do I? He's just a kid.
Right.
You talk to him like a kid,
Yep. Genuine interaction.
Yep.
Just not a lot of special stuff. I mean, I think typical people they have to learn the new pace of the conversation. The conversation might go a little slow, or the conversation might kind of meander and have a bunch of series of non sequiturs, like, "Hey, how's it going? Pokemon is awesome." It's like,
yes, got to roll with it a little bit, but
exactly.
no, he's had the best time. I think it's going to be really fun because they got him in the front row for graduation. So I can't believe it, man. 18 years yesterday.
So he's finishing high school this year?
Yeah.
Holy moly! I got 2 more years.
I know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but he gets another 4 years of adult transitions, which is great. And then hopefully to get him into the university program for another for a 5th year.
That Fresno one?
Yeah. Yes. Fingers crossed.
That's what we're hoping for Jaden as well. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of school, speaking of tired, speaking of all that sort of stuff, so out of the Math on the Rocks crew, you are the teacher. So Cole and I are those disconnected people who don't know what it's like to be in the classroom because but you're keeping us real in this podcast. And so the fact that Cole's not here, by the way, why is Cole not here, Scott?
Because he's getting a new hat.
Yeah, I didn't understand what that meant.
Oh, sorry. He's supposed to be back in Virginia getting his doctorate this weekend. So
Yeah.
I guess give him a pass this weekend. Just because, I guess it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I think everybody who listens to the podcast, all 4 of you, should start referring to Cole as Dr. something. Dr. C, Dr. Cole, Dr. Sampson. What?
I don't know.
I don't either. We'll have to work it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be awkward. We'll see how he comes in with it afterwards.
Yeah, he'll be.
We'll definitely get him to model the hat for us when he gets back. I'm pretty sure it's a hat. It's a very antiquated hat, if I remember right.
I don't know. All right, so okay, here's Scott.
All right,
you're the teacher. I want you to tell me because Cole and I are totally disconnected.
No, you're not.
Yeah, whatever. He's a doctor. I'm a whatever, and we're disconnected from the classroom. We don't know what the heck we're doing in the classroom. You're the teacher. You're the only one keeping us honest on this podcast. Okay, so think about your year. What went well, and then I want you to. Then we're going to move into like what's a math thing that you're particularly proud of that you're going to continue on next year.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing the one that, and you can do it almost spontaneously. We're working on arcs, lengths, and sectors as part of and I threw up this big radial irrigation picture. Annie Fetter and Max Ray Reich were the two, with the whole notice and wonder thing early on. And, Max wrote some stuff about higher mathematics with doing this notice and wonder. And, I challenged myself to try to build on that. And I took a 7th, 8th grade lesson I prepared a long time ago. And I just said, okay, let's make an arc lengths and sectors out of it. But this picture, and I said, okay, we brainstorm. What do you notice? What do you wonder? It took 5 minutes. And then I looked at it and they said, what can we do? And they're like, well, we can find this. Cool, go. And I turned and walked away. And they're like, whoa, wait, there's no numbers on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's nothing up there. And but there was a road, and there was an itty bitty semi truck on the road. And by using that, they had to do scale factor, then define the radius, then define the circumference and the area. And I think what the best part about it was, and they're like, well, what's the answer? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I've done this for like 7 years. I have no clue what the answer is. But what I do know is you're going to have to pass through certain checkpoints to get to some answer. And we're all going to do the common work, even if you're using different numbers.
Yes.
Now, what was cool is, though, I did have 2 groups. One used the width of the road, and one used the length of a semi-truck as their scale factor. And they came in within 20,000 square feet of each other I think they both were somewhere in the 8 million square foot. I should have talked about acres, but that's later on. But come within 20,000 square feet of each other using 2 different scales. That's those ones I'm like, all right, stop, everybody, check this out. This is so cool. Okay, look at theirs. They're like, yeah, the closest, yeah, but look what they use as their measurement. They're like, oh, those are different. I'm like, yeah, but we all did the same work.
Yeah.
And to call that out, and they all kind of went, all right, cool, we were doing the right thing. You know, the guys that weren't real sure over the corner, they're like, oh, we were on the right track. And that, you know, everyone had an entry point, and everyone had their own exit point of what they wanted to do. But the conversation was there. And I just said, go to your boards. I didn't have to tell them where to go, break their groups up, and they all went, which was, you know, only 6 months of training and conditioning.
Yeah, you're only 160 days into 180 year, year, and it's like, oh, you're gonna have to start all over next year. But that's okay.
But that's the fun part about it. I'll have more energy again, though. So the nice thing is we have the routines down when you're tired.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I love it. That problem of the you know, like kind of like that top-down photo of the agriculture stuff reminds me of Fermi problems. Have you ever heard of Fermi problems?
No, tell me more about those.
So Enrico Fermi, he was a brilliant mathematician. Don't quote me, but I think I'm right around the time of like the Manhattan Project. So he was in that era in the he was probably born 1910. I mean, I'm guessing. I can't quite remember, but
yeah,
right there. He's definitely dead at this point, I think.
Yeah.
But he
know the name now, yes. Enrico
Fermi. So Fermi, and he would pose these wonderful problems that were generally numberless problems. And the whole point of it was to just think logically and think about the steps, not necessarily the numbers or the answers. So like I can't remember a typical, like a question he would ask would be, how many golf balls fit in your bathtub? Yeah. Or how many piano tuners should there be in New York City? And he would ask these kinds of questions. And then now the mathematician who is receiving these problems, they have to make some assumptions. Well, I think a golf ball is about this big. I think the dimensions of a bathtub is this. And then given that, I can do some math. Or with piano tuners, I don't know. I don't know how many people live in New York City, but I'm going to guess there's this many people in New York City. I'm going to guess this percent have a piano. I'm going to guess each of those pianos need to be fixed once every 10 years. Like there's guesses, these assumptions that you have to make. But the point isn't whether your answer is right. The point is, are you making are you recognizing all the assumptions you have to make?
Yeah.
And then are you doing reasonable math with those assumptions? And that's kind of what you were doing with that arc radius thing is like, you're just giving them a numberless problem and saying, you know, do some math. Part of that math is going to be involving doing some sort of assumptions. Now, your kids were able to look at a road, and roads are generally kind of a defined width.
Single lane road just has a width. The double lane road has a width.
Semi trucks are generally a particular length. So that's why they were able to eventually get to very close answers. But it reminds me of the Fermi problem. So I'll have to put that in the show notes.
Well, and even with the timing right now, I mean, everyone's working on the state testing and those performance tasks. You know, I know you've been through the same trainings I went through on those and how to score them. Even if the kid got the initial number wrong, if the logic is there, even if you're carrying that initial number wrong through the whole problem and you're using that properly, there's still points to be gained and still points. And I think that's at least one of the few redeeming qualities I find about those performance tasks.
Yeah.
You know, as the fact is you can still be wrong, but still be right.
Yep.
I had 4 girls come to my door going, hey, I didn't think I did very good on this, but what if I did? And I'm like, relax. Yeah. They're juniors, had them in class last year. They just want to know, how bad do you think it's going to be? I'm like, actually, your logic works on what you were talking about. So it depends what your number was.
Yeah.
You know, that was fun.
And fantastic.
You
Hey,
know?
This is fantastic, Scott. Maybe we don't need Cole. Maybe he could just get a doctorate every week. And, you know, you and I we'll just.
I don't know. We do lose a little dynamic with him.
But, I think so. Well, he's the brains of the organization.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that's what the best part about having all three of us is we're at such different places, where,
Yeah.
I was in the class. This is year 27 for me in the class. Well, okay. No, not in the classroom. 22. I did have that brief respite there where I was, county office and administrator. So,
Yeah.
Cole and I have done the administrator thing. We've all been teachers. You guys are both elementary, or I was always upper middle and high school. So we have a nice mix here. But I always miss his point of view. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Well,
but
thank you. Is there anything for the good of the order?
no, man, I'm just, someone tell their friends that we're on here. Don't leave
Yeah,
a
we
comment. If
should,
there's something you wanted to talk about, that would be
yeah.
cool to have some feedback, right?
Not that anybody's still listening at this point of the podcast, but
Right.
we should tell everybody, okay, California Math Council, so cmc-math.org. Make sure they consider joining CMC.
Yes.
You don't have to go to a conference to join. You can just press the "Let me join" button if you want, but definitely make sure people are aware, of CMC. And the next big conference is CMC South in November. They should make sure they subscribe to our podcast.
Absolutely.
That way it shows up in their Spotify or their Apple feed or YouTube, because it's all three now.
Yep.
We do all three of those. If they want to watch the video, they can watch it on YouTube. Spotify is weird
Every
because
once in a while.
you could watch the video on Spotify, or you could get the audio only on Spotify.
Yeah.
On YouTube, it's
Dan-
video only.
Dan's video came through great on Spotify. So that's why I watched Dan's video a couple times.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I upload a video, but if you click one button, you get audio only. If you click another button, you get the video plus the audio. On Apple, you only get audio. There is no video. It's all this stuff is fancy.
I haven't figured out the Apple one yet. You're gonna have to give me a tutorial on that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got Apple
Yeah, we'll
accounts.
figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody, we just need everybody to subscribe because that's it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, you have a great rest of your day, dude.
Thank you. You too. And congratulations to your son. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, I loved it. All right. See ya.
All right. Take care.